If you have a product that you'd like to sell online and you're considering Etsy and you're wondering if it's even worth it in 2026 to start an Etsy shop, this video is for you. My name is Tasha LaRae and I've had an Etsy shop since 2009. The current shop that I have, I started running in 2016, and that's the one that's been running the longest. Now, with that being said, I want to share some of the things I experienced, even how I began my Etsy journey, and just to give you a realistic idea of what you're getting yourself into. So first of all, yes, Etsy is still a very valuable marketplace to sell your handmade goods and other items, like if you make print-on-demand items, stuff like that. Etsy is still a good place for that, especially if you've never sold anything online before, or you are looking for a marketplace that already has an audience that may be looking for what it is that you have to offer. That is the key, excuse me, is knowing what it is you're offering and knowing who your target customer is. Now, I started my shop. The current shop that I have is called Made by Tasha LaRae. I mostly sell handmade items. Earrings is like my number one seller, like the ones I'm wearing right now. And then I also make junk journals and stationery items like stickers and journal notebooks, stuff like that. So handmade items can be a little more challenging to sell than something like a digital product or a print-on-demand item. But even if there are 20,000 people that are still in your niche, you can still make money. You can still make money on Etsy and your audience is still there. I'm not going to edit this video too much. We're just going to do real time. Anyway, it's not too saturated. The key to it, like I said before, is knowing who you are targeting and know why you want to target them. So that way, the stuff that you're offering to them, you know the value. So when you're sharing about your item, you're communicating the value that your customer is going to get. When you do that and you do that effectively, you will always reach your market. Okay. So if you've never sold anything online, Etsy does not have a lot of upfront costs. So you're able to learn your business and learn e-commerce and kind of even maybe learn more about what it is that you're creating and how to make it better. Because you've got to deal with packaging. Now you're running a website. So you're taking pictures, you're learning about SEO. It's a lot. It's a lot all at once. Etsy is a great way to start because your business doesn't grow faster than you. So you're able to catch up and learn stuff, and you're going to make mistakes. Allow yourself to make mistakes. But it's a great way to get your stuff out there. Now, let's talk some numbers. I started my shop, this one that I have now, excuse me, in 2016. Okay. So 2016 to now 2025, we'll say, as far as these numbers I'm going to share. We're in 2026. It's like 4 days into 2026. But I have sold, we'll just start with 2025. I had 234 orders total for the year. And my total sales was $7,600. Okay, that's revenue, excuse me, not counting not taking out any of the fees and all that stuff. So $7,600. Etsy is something that I do part-time. Full-time, I'm a singer and songwriter. I travel internationally and sing professionally, okay? But I wanted to have something that would be flexible with my schedule so that when I'm not on the road, I can work something that I can also have 100% control over my time. So when I need to jump up and go out of town, I don't have to ask permission for nobody. That part. So that's why I have my Etsy shop, okay? So, like I said, I did $7,600 in revenue. Now, since 2016, I have done a total of 1,956 orders. And my total revenue for that was $70,000. That's since 2016. Now, basically, on average, the 7,600 that I made in 2025 is about, on average, what I have made since I opened my shop. Of course, there were some years I didn't make anything close to that, and there were some years I exceeded that. That being said, let me share a few numbers with you, more realistic numbers. So in 2020, I did $4,567 in sales for that 1 year. In 2021, I was introduced to Etsy ads and I started taking out Etsy ads, and my revenue jumped up in 2021, 1 year later, to $16,715 in sales. Okay, so 2020, I did 4,567. Then it jumped to 16,715. Okay, now, excuse me, in 2022, I did $17,086. Even better, right? But both of those majorly with ads. Then in 2023, y'all ready for this number? 12,924. Yes, you heard it right. The number went down, and I'm going to tell you why. So that was 2023. I forgot to go back through my 2024 numbers to see what last year's numbers were, but it was around like 8,000, and then this year it's 7,000. Okay, now let's talk about why the numbers fluctuated. Now, in 2020, we had the pandemic, things, and I wasn't really working my Etsy shop as much as I could because the whole world was up in chaos. We were trying to figure out stuff. Plus, I had something personally that I was dealing with too. So I wasn't really making earrings, wasn't doing stuff. 2021, I started learning more about Etsy ads. And so I think I did like $10 a day in ad revenue. And so those ads got me greater visibility, but it cost me. So even though my sales number shot up a lot, my profit number went down. So I didn't make as much profit. So the next year, though, I was like, well, let's just give this a try. Let's just keep it going. And I did 17,000, which was awesome, even better. But again, since I put so much money into the ads and the ads were helping, but it was taking out so much of my revenue that it was hard for me to see a profit because I still have to be able to pay myself some money. And now these numbers that I'm talking, this isn't six-figure stuff. Okay, these numbers are still low and it's part-time money. Remember that. So after that happened, I was like, you know what? Let's turn these ads off and let's focus more on the SEO. So that's what I did. I reduced my budget for ads completely. I went from doing $10 a day down to $3 a day. Okay. And in 2023, I sold $12,924 in sales. Okay, so the number was still low, but it wasn't that bad, but it was low. So then the numbers kept getting lower. Why? Because outside opened up more. I started traveling more. During the pandemic, I went back to school. And so I started studying, and it was taking so much more of my time. I was spending less and less time making stuff. So I wasn't able to spend a lot of time on my shop. However, some of the groundwork that I had been laying for all of those years was kind of working on autopilot for me to where I was still able to make some cash, even though I was focused on doing some other things. The numbers weren't as great, but I still made numbers, and the numbers still matter. So here we are in 2026. What am I doing now? I still have my ad budget, but it's low. I crept it up just a little bit, but it's still not $10 a day. Now I have my budget set for $8 a day. Now, Etsy only takes your money out of your ad budget if someone actually clicks on your ad. So a lot of people can see it, but I'm not charged for that ad spend until somebody actually clicks on one of my ads. So it's targeted, and that's why I like using the Etsy ads. Now we can talk more about that. I don't want to confuse you on this video, but we can talk more about that later in another video if you like. So this year I'm going to keep that ad budget. I'm not going to mess with it, at least for the first 6 months of the year. What I am going to do is double down even more on making sure that my ads or my posts, my listings, target specifically who it is that I want to target. So I'm going to work on my descriptions and also using keywords, long tail keywords as well as short ones, to make my ad more attractive. And then also making sure that my pictures have a really good view, and give people a really good idea of what it is that they're getting. So it makes it easier for somebody to click the buy button. Okay. So those are the numbers. No, this video did not say I made 6 figures in 3 months. It didn't even say I made 6 figures since 2016. But what it did say was that I was able to sell something that I made online, meet people, make some money. And you can too. Jewelry is one of the most saturated, if not the most. It's one of the most saturated um, categories on Etsy and the most competitive. But I sell earrings made out of leather. They're made out of paper. They're made out of, what else I got? I got cotton fabrics. I have acrylic paints, not acrylic paint, yes, but also acrylic. I've got wood. I got yarn, honey. I got earrings made out of all kind of stuff. And then, like I said, I also started offering stationery stuff that would be appealing to my target customer, because I found out that my customers still like to send letters, like handwritten letters to friends. They also like to journal. So as I learned more about my customer, I wanted to create more things that would be valuable to her and help her feel and look and be her fabulous self. So that's what I did. So it's not a waste of time to start a shop. And you'll hear some people say, oh, that's not going to work because XYZ. Oh, because you got this, people aren't going to pay attention, that you're going to get drowned out. No, none of that. If you don't give it a shot, it 100% won't work. But if you give it a try, you will discover some things that you needed to know that you didn't even know you needed to know. So I would say give yourself the chance at actually making your business work for you. You know what I mean? So just give it a try. And no, Etsy is not paying me to do this at all. Sorry, I had a phone call. Etsy's not paying me to do this. I'm just doing it because I truly believe that what it is that you make is valuable to somebody. And they need to find it, and you need to make it available so that they can find it. Now, there are other ways that you can drive some traffic to your Etsy shop. Of course, using any of these other social platforms to help highlight your earrings or whatever it is that you make, highlight your items, talk about them, show them in use. If other people purchase them, see how these people style them or use whatever it is that you offer. Keep putting these links, make it easy for people to get back to this stuff, like talk about your stuff, show up online and talk about what you have to offer. That's a great way to send the traffic there. But Etsy is a marketplace. It's not just a website, it's a marketplace, meaning they already have a dedicated customer base that is looking for handmade and unique items. Hold on. Handmade and unique items. They're already looking. So when people go to Etsy, they type in what they're looking for. A small gift for a bachelorette party, or gifts for a 10-year-old birthday, or husband's 10th anniversary. Like, people are looking for different things. And once they type that in, any of the items that are tagged or specifically have any of those keywords, if those things are anywhere in the tags, the description, or the listing of that item, Etsy will put those items in front of that customer. Why? Because it's beneficial for Etsy to help people find your stuff, because that means Etsy is making it easy for their target customer to find what they're looking for. So you work both of them together. Okay, but does it take time to get this? Yes, it does. Are there a lot of videos out there that'll show you how to do stuff? Absolutely, including with Etsy. Etsy has a whole seller's handbook. They have a whole section of people who've created videos to help you do this stuff. Everything from taking better pictures to making better descriptions. And then we've got AI, so that can help you, ChatGPT or whatever other AI tool that you like to use. You can use those tools to help you craft your stuff the way you need to craft it so that it's attractive to your customer. There's lots of things that are out here that can help you to do this. But if you tell yourself it's not going to work before you give it a chance, that's not fair to you, and it's not fair to your art. So I don't know, y'all, it's the allergies. I guess I'm not sure what that is. I'm sorry. But I just say, go ahead and give it a shot. That's my vote. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you want to go ahead and start an Etsy shop. It's easy to get started. And with Etsy, like the way they do their fees, you pay once a month for anything that has sold, because Etsy takes a percentage from that. And then when you list your items, last that I checked, it was like 20 cents per item that you list. And then that item stays up for 4 months. And then after 4 months, if you wanted to keep showing, you can hit auto renew and it'll charge you another 20 cents. And then that item is available for another 4 weeks. I said 4 weeks, y'all. I'm sorry, 4 months. Did I say 4 months? It's 4 months. But like I can probably count on one hand how many times I had to come out of my bank account in order to pay my Etsy fees. Most of the time what happens is I'll sell a couple of items, and whatever the Etsy fees are for that month, that 1 or 2 order item covers the fees already. And then any other orders that I get on top of that is money that comes to my shop. So there's ways to do this. You're gonna learn budgeting. You are gonna learn e-commerce. You're gonna learn how to manage customers, how to do your packaging. You're gonna do more, like you might even do graphic design stuff. Like, it's a lot all at once, but it's also very doable if you just give yourself time and give yourself some grace. Don't feel like you have to get it all at once. And also don't get discouraged if you put your item up and it takes a few months before you get your first order. Or you do it and the first year you make $10, $100, whatever it is. Like, just you're laying the groundwork for being able to sell your items in the future, whether you want to grow into a brick and mortar store, or if you want to offer wholesale items to other shops, or if you want to have your own retail store, or whatever it is. Like, you set your goals. This business is something that you're going to create for yourself. But yes, opening an Etsy shop in 2026 is still valuable. And I'll tell you another reason why. If for nothing else, there is somebody who has less than what you have, and they will turn around and turn it into as much as they possibly can. Somebody's going to be a rock star, open their Etsy shop in 2026, and by 2028, they're going to sell $1 million worth of stuff. Does that stuff happen? It does. It happens often. When you're hand making your stuff, not so much. And just realistically, not so much. Because there's so much that goes into doing stuff handmade, and you can only make so much within a certain amount of time, unless you start to teach other people how to make what you make and they work for you. There's ways around those things too, but like, don't count yourself out before you even give yourself a chance to try. Okay, so that is that. Please let me know if this information was helpful for you. Talk to me in the comments. I do return comments back, and I will be posting more videos, lots of video shorts, as well as long form videos like this. I also do how-to videos on how to make certain things, and I just like to have fun, spread joy, making things that make us smile. That's it. All right, so thanks again. Make sure you like this video, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.